The auction are almost ending this week, and you are a great observer of the art market. So I wanted to have your feeling about what's going on and how do you consider the results?
I mean, I think it's always important to look at results against the overlay of the larger economy and the larger world. So I would say the market held up pretty well, given the concerns of the larger world at the moment. And I think the markets were thinner, like maybe instead of 3 bidders, there was 2, instead of 2, there was 1. But the auction houses both worked so far, because we haven't seen Philip's results, but worked very hard to fix things, to be good fixers. And that's what it takes at the very high end.
What is to fix?
Fix is to match the buyer and the seller and get the reserve to the right place.
But it seems that they organize a lot the auction before the auction.
It's been this way for years. I mean, essentially, if you want to watch a real auction of old-fashioned, of yesterday, you have to go to a day sale.
Okay.
For an evening sale because of the capital disruption in the art market, because of the vast amount of capital in the art market right now and what it takes to play at the very high level, both for the auction house and the owners of the works of art who are selling and the buyers, there's too much at stake to be left to chance. Like, you have to fix things in advance.
Yeah, but probably it was harder than usual.
Well, they got it done with the same. They got it done well. I mean, I think there's still plenty of cash in the world. People still have plenty of cash. The rich are not suddenly poorer. They might be weighing, but I'm getting, 5.5% interest on my money doing nothing. And do I want to take it out of that and buy something and draw it down? But I think that there's still plenty of money in the market. It's more about psychology. Like, do I feel like now is a good time? Do I feel...
Yeah, the problem is that sometimes you are not in the mood to buy, no?
Naturalmente, of course. Like, you can't always be in the mood to go spend a lot of money, but there was a lot of quality this season, right? So even people who said, I'm not interested, were willing to look, at least, because there was real quality out there.
And so can we speak specifically about some works that you were interested in? What tell me.
Well, I think the Agnes Martin at Sotheby's did very, very well, and that was a very special, rare example from an artist who we consider almost a mainstay of auction. Like, there's nearly an Agnes Martin every season of some kind or another, but that kind of 63 very early piece is super rare and special, and so the market rewarded it accordingly. And that was like a very real auction moment, let's say. And then in the mod sales at Christie's, there was some spectacular prices paid for the Sheilas that had been restituted, particularly the self-portrait of Sheila as a prisoner. That was a beautiful work and an amazing moment. Do you see that? Do you hear that very New York noise in the background?
No, I can't.
Okay. Now you maybe hear that. Sorry about that. Then there was the...
But was there some disappointment too?
I'm sure there was, but the Cézanne did well. I think the Marguerite Lumière did beautifully. There's plenty of good things to be had there, and they did very well. That sale was immensely successful. Now we're going to see this week with Sotheby's mod sale if the market is deep enough for both houses to have a good sale. I mean, the quality was stronger at Christie's this time in aggregate, but I think, we have to see how deep the market is for things right now. But there's still some nice things for sure at Sotheby's.
So what about the disappointments?
I mean, I guess disappointments would be like the John Curran didn't sell at Christie's. That would be one moment. We saw thinner bidding for Mark Bradford, Richard Prince. I mean, some artists who have been like sort of darlings of the auction markets in the past had a harder time. And
John Curran, for a while now, it's difficult to sell, no? It's an excellent artist, but probably now underestimated.
Well, one of the things that we have to be aware of and maybe cautious about, and maybe even we lament this a little bit, is that art has a greater correlation to fashion than ever before.
Yeah.
So,
which is tough for the living artist.
It's tough for everybody who believes in art is something different than fashion. So it's tough for all of us who are believers of a belief system about art that's different. But you have to recognize the realities of the market.
What about the dark Rothko coming from?
Well, it was that. I mean, that was an atypical Rothko anyway. The Fisher Landau one you're saying.
So yes.
Yeah, that is it's an atypical Rothko, but in even the very, very best of times, it's a smaller marketplace for that work than, say, the one that went to Christie's, the X Mellon one.
And what about the melon? What do you think of the price?
I thought it was a great price. I think I thought it was great that they got it done. It had been around privately at a much higher number at various art fairs and things. So it had been
60 million at Aquavela recently.
I mean, you can ask 60 and you'll start talking at 45 maybe. And I don't know, sort of like, you don't ask 60 and get 60 normally in our market. But I was pleased they got it done and it did well. And remind me the total aggregate price all in. What was it all in around?
Don't remember.
I think that buyers felt like they needed to be rewarded for being in the marketplace. So they needed a little bit extra room on the reserve when they were bidding on something, or maybe they needed a little bit of terms that could be different, something we don't really see visibly. But I think buyers in the market were like, yeah, I'm a buyer, I'm still in the market, but I want to be rewarded for being in the market right now.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And so what do you expect?
46 all in on the Rothko, which was around 41, 42 hammer. So look, that's a great price every day. That is an excellent, great price.
Okay.
Super.
And so what do you expect for the future now? For the rest of the season until next May?
I expect that there's a knowability to where the market is now. Like these sales, there's always a moment when there's uncertain circumstance in the world or in larger economies where like the market sort of stops, not to crash, but to wonder what to do or where to transact for things. And now I think the market knows where it is for various artists. It's definitely still a masterpiece market. People want the best. And people will pay tremendously for the very, very best. And in the day sales, you see a more realistic picture of the larger art market where you're getting like 75% sold, 80% sold, certain things sold lower than their estimates, and really dropping reserves with sellers, pushing people to like get things sold. So I think as long as everybody knows where the market is, then you can keep transacting.
So it means lower prices, lower estimate.
Not for masterpieces, no. But
yes, but we know that the art market is not made only about with masterpieces, because everyone speak about masterpieces, but masterpieces are super rare.
So the masterpieces will be strong, and the very young emerging markets will stay strong, because to $20,000, $50,000, $80,000 is people need their drug. This is a gateway drug. It's
really?
Yeah. Like you need to keep buying because it feels good. So people keep buying at the low end or at the high end, and then the big middle is the true read of where the market really is.
Bon, merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.